Hello, my name is Shelby and I bought a bunch of vintage pottery molds online. I have a series where I uncover what each one is and decorate each piece, but sometimes the pieces don't always go to plan. This is the series where I go back and get revenge on all those pieces and try to make them better. So let's get into it. Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Revenge series. So here's a little recap of the mold we're going to be getting revenge on. So this was mold number 3. I'll pop a little link in here if you haven't seen it or want to go back and remind yourself of what happened. But here it is. It is an Arnold salt and pepper mushroom set. I wanted to get revenge on this one because I recently revealed another part of this set and I felt like I did it way better this time and I had to go back and do this one again. So here it is. I'm pouring it up and I actually forgot what a pain in the bottom this mold is. The reason for that is because the hole was so tiny, I had to keep putting my finger in there to unclog it because the clay kept clogging itself and I was there for quite a few minutes trying to drain it all out. I think it would benefit from like a straw or something to help it drain. Anyway, we got it all out. I open it up. We don't need a reveal. We already know what's in there, but I begin to trim it. So I had a number of ideas of how I wanted to get revenge on this piece, but it came down to just simplifying the design and really wanting to turn these into some little succulent / fern pots. I didn't really love the salt and pepper idea. I know that salt and pepper shakers, they're amazing, but I just saw these as little pots and I just really needed to bring that to life. So what I decided to do was to trim these up and slice that little domed top off. It just went into the recycle bucket. It got reused again. Don't stress, it didn't go to waste. But I cut that top off so that the bottom where the cork is meant to go in the salt and pepper shaker is now a drainage hole, see? And now the top is going to be where you pop your plant, your succulent, or even, you could even probably put some dried blooms in here. I just felt like they were so mystical. I just wanted to do it, okay? The other thing that I wanted to do is redesign the look of them. When I first did this mold, it was number 3 and it was only the second one that I had painted because mold number 2 I didn't end up actually doing any designs on. I was so busy trying to make it different and my own unique style that I sort of didn't think about how I just really wanted a timeless piece as well. I do love what I did and I love where it was going to go. It just didn't turn out the best. So the first issue was with that design is the glaze around the mushrooms. I added this creamy glaze with some splodges. By the way, look at this cute bug. This bug came to hang out with me painting and then I went to like film it and then it flew away. It was really cute. I don't know why. He just joined me for a little bit of a painting session. Was just like watching, you know. Thanks bug for joining me. Anyway, I didn't like how that glaze turned out because I had this idea of what it was going to look and it didn't react the way I wanted to. And I think it was sort of the pattern of how I painted the glaze on just made it look splodgy and like it wasn't intentional and sort of just slapped together. And that's not what I wanted. I wanted it to sort of be this sort of merging colors and I just used the wrong glaze. So that's something that I would like to go back to. But the other thing was the actual mushrooms themselves. I do really love my characters and that's like a signature for me is turning things into cute little characters. But I just chose the wrong colors and I missed the opportunity to just really pay homage to the nostalgia of the Arnold's collection and do my own color palette. And that was even more reinforced when we found another piece of the Arnold's mushroom collection in the last Mystery Mould reveal. So not to spoil that, I should have put a spoiler alert, but not to spoil that. I haven't told you what it is, but I just thought now was the time to bring this back. Now knowing what I know now and now knowing that the classic look of the mushrooms just looks amazing. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes. It looks great. I think that there's also potential to add faces to these designs in future, but I just really like the idea of how timeless these are. The other thing I did this week on this revenge piece is I asked you what color you would paint these Arnold's mushrooms, and I took one of your suggestions of doing a Halloween themed piece. So right here I've got the purple, the orange, and this sort of lime green, and I'm just going to see how it looks just based off what you have suggested. And for the leaves, I ummed and ahed for a really long time what color they should be, whether they be like a dark green or I may mix a moody purple, but I actually went with black and then added some like sort of like sprays of purple on them, and they ended up looking like hairy spider legs under the mushrooms, which was kind of cool. It's not really my color palette, but I love it. As usual, I plonk those into some glaze and I pack them in the kiln. I also did 2 more color palettes off camera. Of course, I did the traditional red toadstool, and I also went back and did more of the brown, orange, and yellow because they just look so fantastic on the other Arnold pieces. But here is a look at all the designs, and then I'll show you a before and after, as well as how I use them. So I finally found some plugs that fit in the bottom. I also did some with a white speckle glaze around the mushrooms that I think looks really great. They've got their own sort of element. I do feel like they should be beige in the background, so I'm just trying to figure out a way to maybe add like a speckle detail in the background, maybe even some antiquing. I know someone suggested that it does look like a log. It would be cool to explore featuring that without taking away from the mushrooms. Here is your before and after. I definitely think it's an improvement, if I say so myself. I do love where I was going and the intention and the artist I was then, but I was so against a minimalist design back then, but now I can really see its capacity to be really bold and stand out and just be really magical with just a few colors and letting the design speak. Anyway, what do you think of my revenge on this piece? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.